There's always a reason for one's actions or people's behaviour. It's not just unreasonable or challenging or difficult to who. There's always a reason for it. The challenge is to discover what that reason is. Now, in this picture of the couple looking at each other, it is also possible to see a goblet between them. Now, it's obvious to most of us that the goblet is unreasonable to pour water into, but perhaps someone with dementia might pour water over this couple and they'll think, what on earth is happening? But for the person with dementia, they were just seeing the one aspect and not the other. The picture below, which is right? The person playing the saxophone or the lady looking at you? Both are perfectly reasonable, aren't they? So for actions, there's always an explanation, but it might not be the one that you're actually seeing at that time. One might be responding to a hallucination. I mean, I've done that. I've gone into the study at night and tried to dismantle the computer because I thought there were wild animals there. There was a reason for my ridiculous behaviour. Or I'm having a conversation with my daughter in the doorway. In fact, she's not there. One might be wandering outside looking for someone that you thought was calling you. I've seen that happen here. Someone saying, oh, so-and-so's calling me, but they weren't there, but they thought they were. Wandering can be a problem, though. So what do you do about it? People have come up with all kinds of clever ideas, like putting a no entry sign on the inside of the front door, or having a mat which is alarmed to alert people that they're about to go out. For me, it might be better a radiation hazard, do not enter. Other people, it's just a matter of removing their shoes because they won't go outside without their shoes. It might even just be necessary to alert one's neighbours that this might happen, or know where to find people. People can also forget whether it's night or day because the brain part gets damaged telling one that it's time for sleep, which is just a social norm at the moment. In the past, apparently people used to wake up in the middle of the night and do things. It was quite a normal procedure, but not in our culture. But I do believe it's possible to relearn how to sleep at night, just as with children. You have to teach them that they shouldn't be sleeping in the day and waking up at night. But the only way to do that is by not letting them sleep in the day, and that applies to people with dementia too. Now, some behaviour can be even more strange. This picture of the trains, if one's on a train and the train is going to the right, one might see a reflection of the train going in the left-hand direction as well. And someone with dementia might get very agitated and distressed about it. And that would be an explanation for their behaviour. A lot of folk with dementia like playing with tissues and shredding them. My granddaughter spent quite a while, not long ago, shredding tissues in my apartment. It's a normal kind of thing for such people to do. It can be quite comforting. People have items that are comforting. A lady here has a handbag that's extremely important to her. It's not because of the money in it or the keys in it. It's the fact that it's part of who she is. So if she forgets to go to lunch with her handbag, it's no good saying, well, I'll pay for you, because that's not the purpose of the handbag. It's her comforter. If people don't want to have a bath, sometimes it's helpful to say, well, it's your turn now. There's no point saying, do you want a bath? Because the answer might be certainly not or no. And if people are used to having, going through the war, if you say to them, well, there's a lot of hot water here, we don't want to waste it, that might help as well. Some people don't like having showers because when they were younger, showers were not the social norm and it frightens them. There's always a reason for everything and always a way round it. Now, sometimes behaviour can be even more challenging. And this picture is the person looking forwards or sideways. Who is right? There is a reason, but it could be disturbing for someone who wasn't sure. I think people who get frustrated and angry and agitated is because they have misinterpreted something. They're frustrated. They feel humiliated, unable to cope with life's demands. Everything is just too much. I have a story about another doctor whose father was in a care home, and certain days his father would be completely unreasonable and distressed, and his son took quite a long time to find out what the reason was. And He was a real gentleman, a lovely chap the rest of the time. And it was a simple explanation. At breakfast, he would make rather a mess on the tablecloth, because if you have dementia, that's quite a usual thing to do, and unfortunately it was a white cloth and a white bowl. And the carer would come along and jokingly say, "Oh, you have made a mess this morning, Mr. So-and-so." But Mr. So-and-so was humiliated by that, and he felt upset and all out of sorts because of it. And then after breakfast, he had forgotten the incident, but would remain upset and agitated the rest of the day. And it took his son several months to find out the cause of it, a remark that wasn't meant in any way in a bad way. A lady here was very upset one day, and all it was her carer had had a crisis at home and was a bit miserable, and she thought that she had upset him. So sometimes one has to pretend a little bit